Is audio coming through? Ben. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Is there sound?
Ben, there's no sound at all.
Yes, there's sound.
Oh.
There's sound now?
Yep.
Am I loud enough?
I think you
I'll
can
start again. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Thank you for those of you in Singapore. Thank you for those in Washington, D.C. and London who I know you're tuned in to. This is a very special program. This is live. The players are in their homes. We have not recorded them separately and we're putting it together tonight, but it's absolutely live. What we've done is we've used some low latency, low lag sonic software, which enables the musicians to hear each other with reasonable clarity and minimal lag. But it also means that they're really not able to see each other, because any video they see would be like a quarter second up to 3/4 of a second behind the sound. So if you imagine tonight we have 4 musicians playing in a very large room. The lag is something like 12 meters of lag, so it's like they are playing blindfolded and 12 meters apart from each other. It's not easy. They've been working on it for several weeks, and I think they've reached a remarkable point considering the technical difficulties and the sheer difficulty of playing blind and quite a distance apart from each other. They've worked hard and we really hope that you'll enjoy the concert. These are very special times. We've put together this program because we think that there's a place to have music and to have art and to have some distraction from the difficulties we're all facing, and we hope you enjoy. Concordia Quartet formed in October last year. The first rehearsal was in October, and they only had their debut concert on the 1st of February this year. After that, they spent 5 weeks with the wonderful Wild Rice Company. They were the quartet playing in The Importance of Being Earnest. But from the middle of March, they found that they were unable to meet, unable to rehearse, and of course that means they're unable to do any work together. Fortunately, around the world, people have been looking for solutions, and we found this solution called Jamulus. Tonight we're combining Jamulus with Zoom, with YouTube, to bring you this concert. Our program tonight opens with something which we think will be light and entertaining and maybe lift your spirits a little. It's Divertimento by Mozart, K136. Divertimento, of course, is a light musical diversion. This piece has 3 movements, and I'm very proud to present you Concordia Quartet.
Sorry. 3
Well, there's nobody to applause for them to hear, but please take a bow, guys. Please take a bow. Now, Theophilus, one of the members of the group, will share with us a little bit about what it's been like working from home as a quartet, which is really quite a unique experience. Over to you, Theophilus.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Theophilus, and now I will be sharing my experience on how we rehearsed as a quartet during the circuit breaker period. We could not rehearse on a conference software like Zoom because as a quartet, we function very differently from larger ensembles, which have a conductor to unify everyone. But as a quartet, we only have 4 of us together to make it work. So, we made our first step forward by using the software Jamulus, which is an audio-only software that was made possible for us to work from home, and this was found by the Resound team. And we connected via a server provided by Mervyn. So at this point of time, we did not have any professional equipment, and we were actually using the built-in microphones from our laptops. It was a very frustrating process. At times, we thought we were never going to work. And then this is what I would like to show you, especially using the old earbuds like this. So, as a quartet, we simply need each other to complete the jigsaw puzzle, and the longer we delay, much more we lose our dynamics we built up over the past few months since we are such a young group, starting only in October last year. Then, we finally managed to order and receive professional equipment for our rehearsals, such as the headphones and the microphones that we are using now. Logistically, it was an uphill task to order and get safe delivery for professional equipment during this circuit breaker period. Even up to this week, we were still rushing to piece together everything for the equipment. Okay, on a personal note, I feel that we learned very much during this period of time to trust each other much more by listening to each other virtually. Even with video cues, we could not rely on visuals because there is a lag between what we see in the video and what we hear from Jamulus. So, without further ado, we hope you enjoy the fruits of our work, and now I'll pass it on to Edward to talk about the next piece that we are going to play.
Hi everyone, I'm Edward, violinist with the Concordia Quartet. The second quartet by Alexander Borodin has been on the radar of our quartet even before we started as the Concordia Quartet. Some of you might be aware of the fact that we had a very unusual beginning to this quartet, rather than just being formed by 4 people who said, hey, let's get together and make music. Resound issued an open call. A lot of musicians responded to that call, and we were grouped into various configurations, and we played lots of different pieces together, kind of like dating reality TV show style. And so we had lots of different groups, and one of the groups that I was in actually comprised 3 out of the 4 final members that you see before you today. And the piece that we played was the third movement of Borodin's second string quartet. We really enjoyed that experience, and and when the time came for us to present a piece in a concert that was originally scheduled for this July, one of the first pieces to come up was the Borodin Quartet. Unfortunately, COVID-19 came about and the concert was cancelled. But then, when the opportunity then came up for us to present a concert from our homes, this piece came up again. And there's so many things to love about the piece. Borodin wrote it as an anniversary present to his wife, and you can hear the romance that goes into it, the sincerity, the heart on the sleeve, and it's so easy to listen to and appreciate. It's a lot of fun to play, right? And I hope you feel a little bit of that love that came into writing this piece. And now, the first movement of Borodin's second string quartet.
Thank you again, Concordia Quartet. Thank you for the lovely piece. That was a lovely romantic piece. We're going to end this little performance with something quite special. As a group, we try to encourage local composers, so we have a new string quartet. We said, why not do a new piece for string quartet, a new piece for string quartet, something maybe a little bit different from what you're used to hearing from Resound or the Concordia Quartet. It's an arrangement of a pop song, which I think many would be familiar with. I won't reveal it until after the piece. Arranged by the very talented Jonathan Shin. And it's from an era where life was simpler, we didn't have COVID, but it's a very meaningful piece if you look at the lyrics later, and we hope you'll enjoy. Thanks, guys, and thank you, Jonathan Shin, for your new arrangement of Eleanor Rigby. Yes. So that brings the music to an end, but we're happy to spend the next 20 minutes or so with you chatting. If there are questions, please send it on the chat. And I already have a couple. Let me just look at them and I'll read them out for the group. From Ida Chua, she's going to go around the whole group and ask, what's your favorite piece each of the musicians from Concordia Quartet? What's your favorite piece?
I mean, from the concert or
From individually, each of your favorite pieces. Edward, your favorite piece?
Ooh, this is a really, really tough one. It's not tough to think of one, it's tough to narrow it down to one, right? So if you say favorite piece, first thing that comes into my mind would be, I'm an orchestral music guy, even though I'm first violinist in this quartet. I listen to a lot of orchestral music as well. So I would go for a very straight-laced choice. I would go with Brahms's Fourth Symphony. Yeah, I mean, I've gone through lots and lots of different phases of composers that I like. I like Czech.
Actually, I think they're just asking which is your favorite piece from tonight first.
Oh, I thought it was my favorite
Not
piece
so
of all.
difficult.
Okay. Okay, well, my favorite piece from tonight, well, I think, our quartet really, really enjoyed the time that we spent playing the Borodin, so I think that would have to be one. It's something that's, our quartet's only been around for less than a year, I think, but, it's one of the things that in our short life has been part of our, occupying our thoughts. So I think it's something that is quite close to us. I also, of course, really, really enjoyed putting together Jonathan Shin's arrangement of the Eleanor Rigby, because it's a piece that I've known from some time, and it's a group that I'm kind of obligated to like, as you can see from, I don't know if you can see the picture of this gentleman on my wall, but the Beatles hail from the same city as the football club that I support, so I'm a big fan of their music.
Great. What about Theophilus, your favorite music tonight?
Actually, I was thinking of the Borodin, but the Beatles really changed my mind over these past few days actually, because I didn't really understand about, Paul McCartney's music and stuff like that. So I would say it was something very unfamiliar to me. But I think John's arrangement really brought out something special in the sense that we actually really labored the most about as a group for this piece, and we spent a lot of time actually. I think this piece actually brought us to much more together as a quartet. With the Borodin we spent a lot of work, but with this piece it was a very special piece, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, quickly from Curie and Matthias, your favorite pieces from tonight?
For me, it's of course, that romantic Borodin, of course, is a great piece and definitely a favorite. But even the Mozart, because I think it brought back memories for us. We played that first movement at Wild Rice for 5 weeks, and it's just brought up that memories, and it was really fun to do that again and to complete the piece with the other two remaining movements.
Great. And Curie?
Yeah, for me, actually, it's the Borodin, because I think, when just now Edward mentioned that we, during the open call, when we were reading through the music, he played the Borodin with, there were 3 of us in the quartet that played the Borodin. I was one of them, and I was the one that suggested the piece at first. Yeah, so to me, Borodin String Quartet is one of my favorite string quartet of all times.
Okay, thank you. That's another question which has come actually from 2 persons, from Vivian Go, and Miss Go has this question, and it actually came from Christopher Cheong through WhatsApp to me. And the question was, is there somebody behind the scene balancing this group? We can swear that we are not balancing on the fly. We did the balancing, of course, during rehearsals, and once we set the microphone levels, what you hear is what you get. There's absolutely no adjustment, because it'd be too dangerous, and it's not live music. This is truly live music. They adjust the volumes as they hear it on their headphones after having had, of course, plenty of practice on it. Hope that answers the question. Next question, a tough one from Mr. Alan Chu. Let me just have a quick look at the question. Basically, Alan would like to know from the musicians, how have you had to react to listening to yourselves through headphones? I think this is something a lot of musicians are curious to understand. Just to give the background to everybody, the musicians don't hear themselves playing live. So usually we hear our instruments right in front of us. we have to minimize that by putting on those headphones, and they have to hear themselves something like 3 to 400th of a second later than usual. So they practically hear an echo of themselves, which is to be synchronized with echoes of their 3 other colleagues. But guys, why don't you share what it's like playing under those things which are on your heads all evening?
I think Edward can share with us, like, before he had the wired connection, what he was doing with the...
Oh, yes.
And if you could
that's
speak up a little, that would help.
Sure. Yes, so until the beginning of this week, I was actually using a Wi-Fi connection, which was marginally slower than my current wired connection. And that little difference made a huge difference with playing, because very often, in fast tempos, I found that I was having to play one note early just to be on time, right? And it's not just in terms of being on time with a group, I would play the note, like my hand would move, and then one note later, or almost one note later, the note would come back to my ear. So that was a big challenge. I think, those of you who play string instruments especially, you would sort of be able to, that a big part of intonation is hearing the note that you play at the moment you play it, so you can adjust micro the moment you hear it. But, we don't even have that luxury now, because the moment, I play for like about 0.03 of a second before I actually hear my own sound. So it's taken some time getting used to, but I think it's also been, I won't say it's ideal, but I would also say that, and I won't say it's, it's great for this circumstance, but I would say it's a great skill to take back into when we meet again live, because that, we've got much more solid insight here for the next time we meet live.
Yeah, I think that also answers Pete's question.
Speak up, please.
I think that also answers Pete's question of do we have to play a little ahead of the beat to compensate for the internet latency. Yeah, so with a wired connection, I think we don't really have to no longer. Thank goodness.
Yeah, but I need the early rehearsals, like, I would be playing together with Curie, for example, and then I would say, I think you're late, and she would say, I think you're late, and then we were both right, because we were hearing, we were hearing ourselves, and then we were hearing the other person, like a fraction late.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for sharing. Next question. This is very technical. Do you pre-tune individually to concert A, or do you do that together during your warm-up? How do you tune, basically?
If you're tuning together, so one of us has the A and then passes it to the other members of the quartet.
Yeah, but it's quite different from tuning it live as a quartet, because you only hear yourself through your headphones and you don't really hear your instrument. So sometimes if there is like a network issue, then while we are playing our A, there will be bubbling sounds, so it'll be like A, but it's not consistent.
Well, talking about bubbling sounds, we apologize for any bubbling sounds you heard tonight, but basically, for those of you who are technically oriented, it's a question of whether we want to give you perfect sound or we want them to play together, because to get perfect sound, the best possible sound, you buffer the sound. You hold as much of the sound as possible, and then, so if anything's missing, it gets sent anyway because it's in the buffer. But if we have that, the lag or the latency, which the players experience, will be totally intolerable. So we have to balance latency with that little bit of dropout in the audio. Shumei has a question. Do you connect directly to Ethernet? Yes, we do. Wireless just isn't going to hack it. Anywhere in the world, people using Jamulus tell you, first thing, get off Wi-Fi, get onto direct wired Ethernet.
Yeah.
Sounds easy. Imagine what it takes to get the equipment during times of COVID.
Actually, I didn't really believe Mervyn. I was kind of like insisting on my Wi-Fi. I was thinking my Wi-Fi connection is great, and then No, the moment you change to wired cable, it makes a world of a difference.
Yeah, imagine me trying to convince musicians, it's the wire, change the wire. And this guy said, no, it's not. My Wi-Fi is great at home. I get such high-speed Wi-Fi, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Maybe I ask a question of the quartet. Would you do this again?
Why not? I mean, it's not ideal, as we said, but depending on how restrictions are lifted and all that, I think, as you can see from the sheer number of musicians on my social media who are just putting up videos of themselves playing, I think we all just really miss playing for each other. We miss playing for other people. So if we can't do it live, then why not do it online?
But hopefully that at least V4 can meet together and stream it
yes.
out. That would be more ideal.
I was answering someone's question. I said I think we went through about 47 rounds of troubleshooting, but then I think after that 47 rounds of troubleshooting, if we were to do it again, we wouldn't have to go through another 47. We might just have to do another 5. So I think we would do it again.
Yeah, we hope. Another question which came to me actually before broadcast is, why are you guys doing this live? Why don't you just simply record it? I mean, what is the point of putting yourself through the risk of running this live? And there is risk, I tell you, technically, and for other reasons, there's lots of risk trying to do a live performance streamed over internet using software like we are using. But guys, why are we doing this live?
We live for the moment. Yeah, I think there is no substitute for live performance.
Can you speak up a bit?
Oh, sorry. I think there is no substitute for a live performance, because at the very second, at the very moment, you are actually experiencing the chemistry between 4 people, or just reacting simply to something that you never expected to happen. Whereas in a recorded performance, everything is actually pieced together nicely. So I think that is what is live all about. I think you just have one chance.
Yeah, I think more than that, when you hear something pre-recorded, most times it's with a metronome clicking at the back, and everything is pretty much static. You just don't have room to move, and in this group you can see and hear that even though they can't see each other, they are responding to each other as the music moves them. Do we have any more questions, Adrian?
I think we have one question. What's playing after the intermission? We have no intermission.
This is it, guys. This took lots and lots of time to prepare.
One more question. Is video of any use in playing together except for being able to see each other? Actually, no, we are not even seeing each other on video while we are playing. Matthias, do you want to elaborate?
Well, you said it, we don't, we can see each other, but it's delayed, so we totally cannot follow any cues.
Yeah.
For rehearsals, the videos are useful when you want to show each other bowings or fingerings.
Yeah, but that was the reason why almost every piece was counted in, because we totally cannot do it visually, which we would do in a concert hall. So that's why the counting was necessary.
During the concert, the only use of the video is making sure that we can see that we are all ready to play and not flipping our pages.
Yeah. And during rehearsals is to see whether people are happy or not happy, that's all.
Oh, someone commented, please do it again.
Well, it's almost 1 hour. This production took a lot of effort from a lot of different people. I think it's a good time for me to recognize the contributions of many, many people to making this possible. I'd like to, of course, thank everyone in Concordia Quartet. Edward, thank you. Curie, Matthias, Theophilus, thank you very much. Behind the scenes, there of course is somebody who's managing the console, making sure that the video feeds from Zoom into YouTube, the audio feeds from Jamulus into his mixing software and into YouTube. That's Benjamin Lian. Thank you very much, Ben. Samantha and Adrian on the Resound team have been invaluable in helping logistically in the marketing for 1001 different things. We'd like to thank the National Arts Council for their digital presentation grant, which has helped tremendously in us being able to put up this presentation. I think a very special word of thanks goes to the Jamulus team. Jamulus is an open source software, that is software which is written by various developers. It's open source. You see the source code, you don't pay for the code. The group has even said that they are not asking for donations for their software, but we know that software is being used for a lot of people, by a lot of people for jamming in bands, although we are one of the rare groups which use this for classical music, and even rarer to use this for live performance. Thank you everybody for making this possible. Thank you audience for your questions, your participation, your encouragement, and let's hope that we really don't have to do this sort of live presentation again. Let's hope we can meet live in a concert hall soon. Take care, be safe, have a good evening.